And we're back. Episode 2 with Strictly Apple Talk. This is the Apple Podcast, anything and everything Apple. I am Alex.
I'm Landon.
And I'm Jonathan.
And episode 1 went great. Loved it. iOS 18. We just bit everything out of that Apple.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. We talked about a lot.
Yeah, we did talk about a lot. We talked about iOS 18. We talked about the new phone, which Landon's repping. And a week later, still good?
Yes, still good. Still large.
There's no case.
I took the case off for aesthetically pleasing audience. We're recording this also today, so there might be something along that line that you guys might see. But that's the main reason I did that. No case today. Just the sand. Just sand. Just the color sand.
Just sand. This is also sand.
This is also sand. The table's also sand.
Okay, I can see it.
Yeah,
I can see the vibe.
Absolutely.
This week we are actually going to dive into some strictly Apple. Not only Apple talk. I'm sure we'll divert a little bit on Apple. But I also know, Landon, you had a story.
I do
about Apple.
So I have a story about Apple, and this story is specifically how Apple royally screwed me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's the headline.
Put that on the headline. Now, they didn't necessarily screw me fully. They fixed their problem. We're still in the process of this, but it's about my actual phone. So I know that when I have issues with my phones, that there has to be people out there that have issues. I deal with this stuff every day, right?
Very true.
We have a business that specifically works with Apple. So if I have a problem, I can only imagine what people that don't deal with this every day have the same problem of.
Now, really quick before you jump into that. Now, I've dealt a lot with Apple before. Like back in the day, you only dealt with Apple, and then you started dealing with, say, like Verizon. Okay,
Right.
so like I have Verizon. When I think I do have Verizon.
Yes.
I used to have AT&T. No puns, no nothing about it. But you wouldn't deal with Apple anymore. They would deal everything with your iPhone, your iCloud account, everything else. But you're talking about going to Apple, dealing with Apple.
Directly with Apple.
Okay.
And how nobody in the and if you see this or you hear this and you work at a phone carrier store, this is no shade towards you. I know you're following policy and you want to keep your job. But I think working with some of these carriers, they don't know anything about what actually goes on. They don't even know what blacklisted means when it comes to a phone. They don't know what unlocked means. They don't know what iCloud information is.
Oh. Okay.
Write that down.
He's heated.
That time.
Okay.
That's going to need to be edited. But I know that, there is a lot of stuff that goes into phones. And let me just tell you about my problem that I have with Apple and what I just experienced over the past 7 days. From the time that we had episode 1 air to now, I've had this issue. So I have an iPhone 15 Pro Max. I bought it last year on September 15th. I pre-ordered it. I received it on the 22nd. I did an unboxing of the video, and that was it. I used the phone for a year. I hooked it up to Spectrum. I'm having a real trouble time breathing here. I'm sorry.
I told you get sick, dude. And as you get older and you get sick, it takes a lot
You're
out
going
of
to have to edit this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm like,
I don't hear any difference. I think you're fine.
okay. Well, the words you're going to have to edit. Anyways. So,
Thank you for breathing all over me.
You went to Spectrum.
I went to Spectrum. I activated the phone. I've had the phone for a year. I've used it. No problem. Well, when I upgrade to a new phone, I tend to just give the phone back, put it into inventory, goes through processing, gets checked, and gets shipped to someone's house. Now, we received a phone call about a week later, and it was tested. No blacklist, no locks. It's my phone. I bought it outright, and I bought it directly from Apple. So I didn't buy it from Spectrum. I bought it straight from Apple, paid it in full the day it came out. Now, when I went to go sell the phone, it was all checked. We have systems that check for blacklist. We have system that checks for MDM. We have system that checks for iCloud and checks for anything on the phone. Now, I had this phone fully checked, and it came out A-OK. It's checked all 28 forms of the phone. It's checked for any problems. If there's nothing wrong with the phone, it's only a year old. I've used it. It's my phone. So I sold the phone to a customer, and about a week later, after the customer receives the phone, they go to try to hook it up to Verizon. Well, Verizon tells them the phone is blacklisted. Now, what blacklisted means, just in case you're listening and you don't know, Blacklisted is if a phone is not paid off, if a phone is considered stolen, or if a phone is considered lost. All you have to do is contact the carrier and tell them that your phone's been stolen, lost, or blacklisted, and they will blacklist the phone. If your phone is blacklisted, you cannot hook it up to any carrier because that phone is now reported stolen or lost. Hopefully that makes sense. It's pretty simple. People that work at T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, Spectrum, they don't know all this information.
But they should.
But they should. Now, again, if you work there and you know this, that's great. And if you're listening to this, it's good that you know that. I went into the T-Mobile store because my phone was showing that it was blacklisted from T-Mobile. So I go to the T-Mobile store after I had the customer send this back. So mind you, a customer ordered a phone from us. It was blacklisted. Now they're without a phone. We have to send them a new one back. So I want to send them this one back specifically. First of all, it's an expensive phone. I want to get it back to them, and I want to have good customer service with this customer. I go to T-Mobile, and they say, well, that phone's never been registered with us. I said, how'd you blacklist it then? Because it's blacklisted under your name. They said, okay, well, we don't know. Where are you seeing that? So they don't have access to see if it's actually blacklisted until you sign up for an account. So I said, you're telling me I have to try to activate this phone and sign up and go through the process of doing that in order for you to see that's blacklisted? She says, yes. She didn't even know what blacklisted was. That's fine. Again, it's not her fault. She's not taught this stuff, so how would she know? So I take the phone from T-Mobile and I call Apple because they say, call Apple. They're the ones that can carry. And I actually called T-Mobile, and T-Mobile told me to call Apple. Called Apple. Apple told me to call T-Mobile. T-Mobile told me to call Apple. Then T-Mobile told me to call Spectrum. They said, you initially had it signed up with Spectrum. Maybe they're the ones to be able to help you fix the phone. I'm like, okay, let me call Spectrum. Spectrum. No, it's saying it's blacklisted T-Mobile. Verizon, Spectrum, and our third-party apps that we use to be able to check if a phone is blacklisted or locked or anything like that, I was all saying T-Mobile. The only person that cannot see the T-Mobile lock is Apple and T-Mobile. So my question to T-Mobile was, how did you blacklist the phone if the phone's never been on your network? She was like, well, we can't activate the phone. We can't have the phone. We can't look the phone number up, the IMEI up, the serial number up if it's never been in our system. I said, how do you blacklist it if it's never been in your system? Well, we can't tell if it's blacklisted unless we have you account. So I have to sign up for an account through T-Mobile in order to see if my phone is blacklisted so they can see it. So I'm like, okay. So I need to sign up for a T-Mobile plan in order for you to tell me that I can't sign up for a T-Mobile plan because my phone's blacklisted through T-Mobile. And she was like, yes. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. But again, I'd never get upset with the person I'm working with because they're, again, following policies and procedures. So there's nothing wrong with that. So I call Apple. I'm like, Apple, I need help. They're like, you got to talk to T-Mobile. I'm like, okay. Okay. I've been talking to T-Mobile. Now, mind you, I dealt with this last Friday, all Saturday, for 6 hours on the phone. 6 hours, right? Cue the SpongeBob. 6 hours remaining, right? 6 hours. I'm on the phone with T-Mobile and Apple, nonstop. I'm teaching them both what blacklisted is. I'm teaching them both exactly what happened, which is totally fine. I'm okay with that. I counted that I explained what happened 16 times to multiple different representatives, specialists within that 6 hours.
That's embarrassing.
I got on the phone at 7 a.m. and then I get off to like 2 or 1. It was crazy. So I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. So here's what I did. I called. When I was on the phone with Apple, they said, T-Mobile can call us, but we can't call them because T-Mobile sells Apple product, right?
Yeah.
So they said, call T-Mobile, have T-Mobile transfer you to us, but have them stay on the line. I said, okay. I called T-Mobile. T-Mobile said, we can't do that. We're not allowed to do that. I said, but you're allowed to do that because you sell Apple products, so you do have contact to Apple. 3 representatives later, I'm on a 3-way with Apple and T-Mobile. Now, the guy that I dealt with in Apple this final time was very good.
I feel like this is spy stuff.
Oh, dude.
This is
Dude. And this
like, insane.
is a point of explaining that if you have your ducks in a row, like eventually you can get there. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not doing this. Like I was like, I know this information. Let me talk to somebody. So I talked to T-Mobile and Apple. Now, mind you, I didn't tell Apple that T-Mobile was on the phone. So He tried telling me call T-Mobile. I said, hold up, swap calls, or right. So I said I put them together, and I said now T-Mobile's on the phone. What would you like to ask them? Silent.
Dead silence.
They didn't know what to ask them.
Yeah.
They're just used to telling people to go to T-Mobile or vice versa, right? He said, okay. Well, about 10 minutes later, he said, man, I don't know what's wrong with your problem. I don't know what's wrong with your phone. We're going to send you a new one. I said, I'll be darned. I'll be darned. So what we did is I had to send my 15 back.
Okay.
And they're supposed to be sending us a brand new sealed 15 Pro Max, and it's actually supposed to be here tomorrow. So I'll let you guys know next week if it arrived. I'm out of breath right now because
That
I was dealing
is-
that and 6 hours straight, and I probably left out some key stuff in there, but man,
At one point during that whole escapade, did you think, okay, now I'm going to trick them. I'm going to put them in a trap, and I'm going to have both representatives on the line, and then I'm going to swap the calls.
when an Apple,
That's where it got juicy for me. I really got
Yes.
interested. I'm like, oh, here it goes. And then I just imagine this like they're both in there, and it goes ding, and then you're like, oh no.
the Apple representative told me, she said, T-Mobile can call us. We can't call them, but they can consult with us about questions regarding iPhones.
All right.
So I said, okay, they can call you. She said, yes, they can for sure call us. I get calls every day. Great. So when I talked to T-Mobile and they said, we can't do that, I said, yes, you can. She said, no. I said, yes, you can.
So it takes 7 hours in order for you to get trick somebody from
Oh.
Apple to be on a phone call long
With
enough
T-Mobile.
with T-Mobile.
But guess what?
What?
I got the job done,
Yes, you did.
That's right.
and the phone's supposed to be here tomorrow. And we have a happy customer. We're going to have a happy customer, which is the most important thing. And the customer was super understanding. It was just super unfortunate. You know, we didn't have that it was a 512 gig 15 Pro Max, and you don't have a lot of those just because they're super high spec.
Yeah.
Expensive. So
Very.
I wanted to make sure. Now we're giving the customer a brand new phone back. So I was happy about that. They bought a used open box condition phone, and now they're going to get a sealed one, which I'm happy about. But that was just a process, dude.
Yeah.
A process.
That is dedication at its finest.
And for the person who gets that 15 Pro Max and just happens to hear this podcast,
Yes.
just know that a lot of heat went
Shout
in.
out
Oh.
to you.
A lot of heat went into getting that phone. So if that phone ever breaks,
Well, you have a 1-year warranty through Apple, and it's eligible for Apple Care and everything now. So you're getting a brand new phone.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just at some point, I almost gave up.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, hey, let me just send him out another phone and let's figure out this one or whatever.
what the luck though? What the luck? What the luck though that it was your phone that it happened to? Because
My
if it
phone,
was
exactly.
if say if it was somebody who had traded in or sent in one, not necessarily trade in. That's going to be another thing that we're talking into about what strictly Apple is. But say somebody else traded it in and you didn't know the full story behind it.
Yep.
Well, you wouldn't have been able to do that. And I think that's the aggravation point for other people, that deal with Apple on a daily basis. Because if they don't have their ducks in a row, if they don't know what they're talking about, you know what I mean?
They
would have
never
been
know.
screwed.
And
Yeah.
Apple gets over with that
And
stuff.
because it was your phone, you knew what was going on.
Yes.
So you had to do that process.
I had the receipt. I had everything. I was saying blacklisted. Somehow that phone got blacklisted.
Yeah.
Um,
And how do you think that is? I'm sure you've thought about
I was
that over
gonna
and
say,
over.
well, I know I'm pretty positive.
Because they're not going to give you an answer. They're just going to
No.
say, okay, we're going to solve the problem. and
So
go
I
with it.
think here's how it happened. And we can edit this out if need be, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
That phone, somebody got the serial number of IMEI off the box
Yeah.
when I did an unboxing video.
Yeah.
A hater, probably an Android user, took that serial number IMEI and reported it to T-Mobile, lost or stolen. Now, I think
Wow.
that is great if your phone's stolen.
Yeah.
Or you can just do it through iCloud, easier. But what is the problem, I think, with that is that I could take your IMEI off your phone right now or
Yeah.
serial number,
Blacklist
call your
it.
carrier or call any carrier and blacklist it.
Yeah.
So as soon as that phone's reset and goes attached to a different carrier one day,
Yeah.
it's blacklisted.
That's-
That's crazy.
That's
That's an error.
that's a move you don't like to see,
no.
like
Not at
an
all.
ex-girlfriend,
Oh,
kind of move.
You should have to show proof of loss.
Yeah.
Or proof of purchase. Not proof of loss.
But
Proof
proof
of
of loss
purchase.
would be kind of hard.
Yes, because you lost it.
Yeah.
Proof of purchase if you're going to blacklist a phone.
I agree. Because if you think about it, like the other day, I had to get a new debit card, and I had to go through my bank process. I literally have to call my bank. They ask me a bunch of security questions. They're like, "What are you trying to do?" I have to add my card, to my Apple Cash, so I can
Yep.
use my Apple Wallet. I have to go through that whole process. If you think about everything that's on your phone, every password that's on your phone, you think about all the photos that's on your phone, all the file managers that's on your phone. I mean, it's the same I mean, it's the same. It's worth the same amount.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, I would give my life savings to get my phone back, not only for those things, but for like my children, pictures of my children and stuff like that. That's huge.
No, and people do that all the time. We have, and it's sad to be able to have to turn people down. But if you, Alex, you pass away, without your screen code.
Why'd you choose me?
Well, and I'm looking at you.
And I'm young. Sorry.
He's young.
Yeah.
Nobody
can kill the minor. Okay,
No.
this is good.
If you were to pass away right now, or if anybody were to pass away, you have to have that screen code and the information to get in.
Yep.
You can't.
Oh,
Take
I
it
went
to
through that
Apple.
with
Your father.
with my father and my my uncle.
Yeah,
my uncle Tim.
and there's
You remember that?
no getting around it. I mean, unless you have, there are certain people out there, on the black market that can get your stuff, right?
Right.
But you're spending $20,000 to get photos off.
Right.
Most people don't have $20,000, and they don't offer payment plans.
Right.
So like, you're screwed. You're royally screwed. So that happens all the time, though.
That just blew my mind, though. Like to think about pulling photos off of a phone. It's not like it used to be,
No.
with Apple. I mean, I used to be able to get around. Like I remember, what was it, iOS 8? We used to be able to get completely around it without having a password.
You can. There was several different ways you could push a number so many times, click a few buttons, and it gets you through.
Yeah.
But then people
I
find
used
it
to
out.
be able to plug it straight in while clicking the side
Yep.
buttons, and it would just automatically unlock.
It just pushes through.
Yep.
Now you can't. I mean, honestly, I think that iPhone and their privacy policies is extremely. I mean,
It's great, but it's scary.
It's great in the fact that it will protect you.
Yeah.
But it's scary in the fact that, like, is my data being sold to Facebook? Like, I just said garage door the other day, and now I'm going to get an ad.
You know what? This is kind
that
of
type of thing. And I've talked to several people about that.
I was just thinking about why you were talking about that. Don't ask me why. But people that have, especially when they're very young, they start getting Alzheimer's. My grandmother got Alzheimer's very fast, very, very fast onset, and very young. What if you forget your password? You're still you, and it just comes and goes, and you can't get into it.
You have to reset your phone.
You are the proof of you, but
Yes, you have to reset your phone
yeah,
in order to change that screen code.
yeah,
And you need to have the iCloud information.
yeah.
If you
So you
forget,
got to catch yourself at a good time.
yes,
Yeah.
if you forget your iCloud information and forget your screen code on your device and don't have the access to the email that the iCloud is associated with,
Yeah,
you're SOL.
that's crazy.
Gone. Even if you own the device. Now, Apple will help if you have proof of purchase and it's under your name and you can prove some things.
What's the proof of purchase?
I think the receipt, but it has to be directly from Apple for the most part.
Really?
Yes, it has to have the serial number and everything included as well. There's a lot that goes into that. But I know they will unlock the phone with a death certificate, which does not help the person who owns the phone.
Right.
But it helps. Like if I die today, my phone gets locked if you don't know my password and stuff. Then you can take it to Apple with my death certificate, and they will unlock the phone.
Yeah.
But other than that, and unlock it by fully factory reset it type of deal.
Yeah.
You don't get any information; you just get the
Right.
device back.
That's crazy.
So,
which is not what you want.
no, I don't care about the phone. I want the photos.
Yeah.
I want the last videos.
Right.
There has been several times we had a customer come in, and we had this quite a bit. We had the local police office, or sheriff's office came in one day, and they needed us to fix a charging port on a phone in order to look up information.
Are you allowed?
Am I allowed?
Yeah.
I was able to fix a charger port like it's any other client.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me about this.
There was information on a case they needed the charger port fixed.
Yeah.
They actually had to come back and watch us fix the charger port
Wow.
so that no information was leaked. It was
Right.
a pretty important case that they were working on. And we fixed the charger port, phone turned on, charged. We didn't get in the phone, nothing like that, but they needed the phone on. Okay, we'll do that. We'll fix the charger port like normal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And that you're able to help in something like that, I
Mhm.
guess.
Yeah, there's been a few other cases. Recovery data is always important.
We've had I've seen bullet hole phones come through
Oh
here.
yeah.
Which
I
is
remember that.
kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
Hopefully it wasn't on the person when it was shot, but
He had a wrap around his leg at the same time. So I don't know. We've had that happen. We've had the best ones are the best ones are upset upset relationships.
Yes, spouses.
The specific
yes.
spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, and those phones are the first thing to fly when you get mad.
Yeah.
A lot of the
true.
time.
Mhm.
So we've had people come in and they're like, "What happened to your phone?" He's like,
Yeah.
Girl
You
got
could
a hold
tell.
of it. or like they're saying
Dang.
something like, "What happened to your phone?" And they're like, "She caught me." I'm like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yikes.
dude, really?
You're like, let's have some relation. Let's sit down first.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Come on.
We don't ever get into that information. We don't want to get too personal with them. We're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
sorry about that.
But they're
not
totally
really, I
willing to
don't know.
pay. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I get a new screen. A lot of the times, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
They make sure it's
Busted back, busted front.
Yeah.
Mm.
Throw it in the water.
throw it in water.
Yeah.
Throw it in water.
There's some pretty nasty stories, guys. From bed bugs to vomit
Yeah. Ugh.
to being run over by a car to dropped in a septic tank to there's some nasty stuffs. I know
Yeah.
they say under your fingernails is the dirtiest place, but I think on your phone screen might be.
That-
Yeah.
I feel like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
really underrated. I feel like that's not thought about a lot.
Yeah.
It's how nasty our phones
I do
are.
remember the bed bugs one.
Oh, multiple.
Yeah.
Dozens of
In the
bed bugs.
MacBooks. The MacBooks
Yep.
had bed bugs in it. I remember
What?
that.
We still every once in a while we bag and tag and zip and send back.
Really?
Right? We don't work on them. I don't care what it is, we don't work on them.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of bed bugs that people will send in their device. Sometimes you can see them crawling out of the thing, like
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
disgusting.
But
Wow.
I mean, yeah. Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah, it's
That's-
nasty.
But
Now,
I mean, you think about it too. Bed bugs, they are attracted to heat.
Right.
So
it's hot, it's
yeah.
warm, it's small.
and usually it's like on your bed.
Yep.
Or near there.
Yep.
Especially with a
We
charger.
even had roaches in there before.
Ugh.
I mean, think about it. I mean, everything you could think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And you have to sanitize the whole area.
Right.
You have to sanitize the MacBook.
Can I ask one more question
Yeah.
too? Now that we're on the topic of Apple and trying to get the right help in the right place, Apple Vision Pro, which you had,
Yes.
had some from day one.
I still have.
you still have.
Yeah.
Awesome
Bust.
bust. Oh, I was getting ready to say awesome product.
Bust.
I've only done the dinosaur thing, and it rocked my world.
Okay. Apple Vision Pro is sick,
The idea.
but it's not
It's not there yet.
it's not there yet. I don't know, and I think the problem is it is a bulkier device that you got to carry around.
Right.
That has to be charged.
And every first edition of everything is going to be bulky.
yes, you got to think about. I mean, even going back to computers, right?
Yeah.
It was like cool, but
How are we going to fit all of this
right.
into here? Yeah.
I think when Apple gets it one day to where it's actually a physical pair of glasses,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit
Whoa.
bulkier sunglasses or something like that.
Yeah.
That's
Where you're not connected to a battery too, and it's wrapping your whole
right.
head.
right. It wraps your whole head. It's super cool. I will say it's the best AI or AR
Yeah.
augmented reality
Yeah.
that there is, but it's like $4,000 after tax
That's
for a base
a lot.
model 256.
Yeah.
3,500 plus tax.
Are they coming out with a new one that's supposed to be more affordable?
I have not heard anything
Me
about that.
neither.
I'm assuming they would. Apple tends to drop cheap products,
Right.
cheaper products, I guess.
But it's
Along the
without
line.
of everybody's range. Dude, you could get a used car, like a nice
Mhm.
used car for that.
$3,500 off $4,000.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My first car was like $1,100.
Yeah, dude.
I thought it was a Mercedes Benz, dude.
My first car was
99
$5,000. So yeah,
Yeah, 1995 Ford Probe. My rims and my sound system were worth more than the actual car was.
I bet it was.
That's
You had subs in the back.
Oh, it did.
10,
dude.
12, 8.
At 12s, two 12s
Wow.
crossed over with a 720. Man, that thing! I had to super glue my back license plate, and I had to super glue my rear view mirror because it would bang so hard. It would,
Wow.
yeah,
You're bumping.
That's
dude, I was
Crazy.
bumping.
Yeah.
I was,
I like
was
that.
yeah.
I like that.
No, I didn't have it. My brother had that. He had a Hyundai Tiburon.
Oh yeah, the Tiburon.
Tiburons.
Oh,
and it was
dude.
sick back then.
Dude, I
too.
loved Tiburons back then.
09. He
Oh,
had
yeah.
that. It was sick.
Oh, 09.
I had a Corolla, Toyota Corolla.
I had
No.
one for a while.
No, I loved that Toyota Corolla until I
Dude, that thing,
smashed in the back end of somebody.
it was my grandmother's when she passed away, so I kind of just inherited it, and it was all leather inside, and dude, that thing rode like a dream. Just like you hit no bumps.
Corolla?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
honestly like a Cadillac.
Yeah.
They're a nice
Honestly,
car.
like a
I think a
Cadillac.
Cadillac that got at the time, 35 miles a gallon or
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that. It was good gas.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, cars get really good gas. Some don't even use them, but It's really it was a nice car.
Yeah.
What car? Yeah.
I drive a
Come on.
um,
Come on.
a 2013 Scion XD. It's a Toyota product, so it's
2-door,
4-door.
4-door.
But Scion's good. Yeah.
It's not
It's
bad.
a Toyota product.
It's really
Yeah.
reliable. But
My buddy
I
had
hate driving it.
a Scion. Still
Really?
does actually.
There was
Yep.
a story behind. I just watched a reel not too long ago about Toyota and what Toyota meant. Do you guys know what it means?
No,
I gotta look it up.
No.
It's super worth it.
really getting off track here.
Yeah, I
I know.
apologize.
Toyota's-
It gets really good gas mileage though, and it's paid off. So I only pay for insurance.
Yep,
So,
there you go.
yeah,
What's the
insurance
gas
and
mileage on that thing?
Very good. From empty to full is like $30.
That's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
What's how many miles do you get?
Like 50, I think. Like maybe more than that. No, more.
You
than
definitely get more than that.
that. I definitely
Oh,
get more
yeah.
than that.
A decent amount. Take you around
Decent
town.
amount,
Get
yeah.
back
Yeah.
and forth
Yeah.
to school.
Well,
Yeah.
good. Well, good. Well, the reason I was asking about that was, I know you had broken the
Oh yes,
the Apple Glass,
yes we did.
or what's it called, Vision Pro.
Vision Pro.
And it-
Smashed it on the floor.
yes, smashed it on the floor. Great.
No longer powered on.
No longer powered on, and you went back. You had to go to Apple.
Next day after release, I take a Vision Pro, a 4,000. I got 512 gig by the way.
Yeah, so that's what I want to know. They were befumbled.
Befumbled.
Yes.
Yes, and you can add that word to your vocabulary.
Befumbled.
But
Fumbled.
so I get it. I get it on a Friday. I take it to Apple
Mhm.
Saturday. They're looking at me like, what? First of all, they have the training on it, but only certain people have the training. And they're like, what is this? And I'm like, what do you mean, what is this? Apple Vision Pro. They're like, you just got this. I was like, yeah, I got it yesterday. I was like, I took it, stumbled down the stairs. Right? And they're like, oh, wow. I said, yep, I got Apple Care. He's like, oh, okay, well, that's good. I said, yep, it's great. So they helped me with that. That one, I played Ring Around a Rosie with them on that one too.
That's what I remember.
We were
That's what I
going
was
back
asking.
and forth, and I sent it to him. I dropped it off,
I remember.
and it came back to my house like 4 days later.
Yeah, remember when you were on the phone with them? They're like, "Well, the new one should be sent to you," and then I think I was bringing in the mail from the
Yeah.
shop, and
Drop
you go,
off.
what is this?"
On the phone with them, they said new one should be sent to you
and it was your old one.
in 2 or 3 days. And I'm on the phone. I'm like, I just received it in the mail. They had no information. I think it's because how new it was. They didn't know what department to send it to.
Yeah,
And they ended up replacing the whole thing.
that's cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
If you argue enough with Apple, they will replace
Yeah.
the device. If you have,
Not with Facebook.
I don't even go down that one. They will replace the device for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
If you have you can't
But
just be upset
like you
customer.
said,
have to be
but
"There's
like you
facts."
said, like in the very beginning of the podcast, you have to have your ducks in a row. You have to know what you're talking about,
Mhm.
and you have to know what your rights are and what you own and what you don't own.
You got to come with facts.
Yep.
If you want to win the case, you got to come with facts.
Yep.
And you'll normally be able to win those cases.
Yep. Agreed.
So it was I've had my run-ins with Apple.
Fair share
But
of
The thing that
debacles.
Apple has is they got a quality product, the best
Yeah.
product in the world.
Very true.
You can get mad at them every single day. You're still gonna keep them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. All right. Well, I think we are wrapping up the podcast for this week.
Yep.
If you guys have any notes of interest, make sure you comment down below. Make sure you spread the good news that the Apple Podcast is here.
Absolutely. Strictly Apple Podcast,
That's right.
episode 2.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
Thanks for joining.
No,
Yeah.
thanks for joining. And what if we had to call this? If we had to label this podcast, what would we call this episode?
Oh,
Because
know.
they're Landon struggles. So what are we going to give it?
struggles, man. Some dealing with Apple directly. I don't know.
Yeah. Dealing with the man.
Apple's problems.
Apple's problems.
Apple problems.
Apple.
Strictly problems.
I don't want to say
Strictly
Apple problems.
problems.
Strictly problems. I don't want to say strictly problems. You know why? Because I love Apple, and I wouldn't trade it for Android in the world.
No.
So yeah, we'll just call it not the best day,
Not the best day.
Not the best.
That's a good one.
a B- day.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining, guys. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys
We're
in the
out.
next one.
Take it easy.